Senator Gold, the scandal-plagued Prime Minister continues to appoint his close family friends and Trudeau Foundation connections to get him out of hot water. Prime Minister Trudeau repeatedly put Special Rapporteur David Johnston in a terrible spot, and now the PM has structured Johnston's mandate so that he appears financially incentivized to find there should not be a public inquiry on Beijing election interference. Mr. Johnston will be compensated $1,600 a day for his efforts, in addition to the lifetime Governor-General annual $150,000 pension he collects. If he determined in May there should be a public inquiry, his special rapporteur services would no longer be required, and his per diems would stop. Senator Gold, it seems contrived to paper over the truth. Why won't the Prime Minister come clean with Canadians and just call a public inquiry?
Senator Gold.
Wow. Senator Batters, to suggest that that David Johnston, the Honourable David Johnston, the former Governor-General, would be influenced by a per diem that represents, and you were a lawyer and perhaps not on Bay Street, that is equivalent of a few hours of work for professionals. But for any amount, let me begin. To suggest, to imply, to assert that somehow the Honourable David Johnston would be influenced by his per diem and that would change the advice that he gave the Prime Minister is really something that to have I cannot find parliamentary language to express how it makes me feel to hear this being treated with seriousness, that you are asking me to respond to a question like this. It does not, with all due respect, dignify a response.
Senator Batters.
Senator Gold, it's how the mandate is structured. The terms of reference for Mr. Johnston's mandate are massive, including, quote, investigating foreign election interference now and historically, studying all communications between the PMO, Trudeau's ministers, and their offices on this issue to find out what they knew, when they knew it, and what they did or didn't do about it, determining what Canada's security intelligence services recommended to fight foreign interference, resolving any outstanding questions not dealt with by NCCOP and NCIRA, recommending, quote, changes in institutional design and coordination of government assets deployed to defend against such interference, unquote, and reporting on, quote, any other related matters of importance, unquote. How on earth could one person do all these things? I guess that's why they needed a special rapporteur. Mr. Johnston is supposed to do an interim report on all this by May 23rd, then continue rapporteuring until October 31st. But if he decided next month there should be a public inquiry, what would be left to rapporteur on? Prime Minister Trudeau has structured Mr. Johnston's mandate to try to placate Canadians and replace a public inquiry by putting a less transparent process in the hands of a trusted family friend and Trudeau Foundation member. When will this government drop the smoke and mirrors and just call a public inquiry?
Senator Gold.
As I've stated on a number of occasions, the Special Rapporteur, the Honourable David Johnston, will be advising the Prime Minister, and when that advice is given and considered, decisions and announcements will be made.